And you can find a movie or you cannot find a movie, but there is always an excuse to do great acting, there is always an excuse to do great acting. And um, you can always get better in acting through different processes, sometimes crazy mad processes, methods. Many people will not get it, but sometimes they will remember the performance. Sometimes they will ask a lot of questions after the performance, as I said before, that how could you come up with that kind of acting performance? Sometimes people can eloquently speak, sometimes people cannot eloquently speak about that. But many people will be able to relate to that in different ways. So, critics, hypocrisy, don't have to share. Why should we talk about acting? Why should we talk about acting and its educational element? Now, if you talk about that, you are an inferior being, and so many things we come across, people talk about. But how can you come up with a great performance? Different ways you can come up with a great performance. Sometimes, the love we have for movies and the movies we have grown up watching, they have a lot of impact on us. Role models, people we aspire to, the roles that stayed with us, the performances we liked. And we can get inspired from those things anytime. Maybe it's a different context, maybe it's a different scene altogether. But we can always go to the classics and learn so much from it, Black and white films, early color films, so many things we can learn. And cinema as a language, when people were figuring out about cinema as a language, they played with a lot of things, the camera techniques, editing techniques, performances, how they could capture the performances, how they could assemble the performances. So they could play with a lot. And there were people who wanted to make movies understanding that language, and when it came to make their own movies, they played with that language, they played with that cinematic language, they came up with their own style, they came up with something they could call their own, the way they wanted to make the movie, the way they wanted to shape the movie, the way they wanted to have that performance. We talk about authors of movies. We have seen that. We have seen people who are great directors, and the passion, it's a very passionate profession, and I cannot emphasize enough on this point. It's a very passionate profession, and I can talk about 1,000 lectures, but the passion is something really big. It can make you do epic movies, it can make you do different kinds of movies, but once you have that passion, once you have that enthusiasm, others won't get it, but it's something that you can show through the movies, and in so many ways, and it's a sad thing that many times young people don't talk about it much, especially they are not having that passion and enthusiasm. And what I feel is, the entertainment quotient and that entertainment factor, sometimes it is distorted, sometimes people have different meanings attached to it. Sometimes people are told that this is going to be something that is entertaining and that is something that is not entertaining. There are different things. But we can talk about acting as a profession, we can talk about the cinematic language, we can talk about the visual language, and you will see that ultimately, if I talk about cinema and if I leave everything aside, the sheer joy of acting as a practice, no matter whatever profession you choose, if you choose cinema, that is even better. But the process of doing acting, acting, that activity itself, it can give you so much pleasure, joy, happiness. And you can learn a lot about people, you can learn a lot about humanity, you can learn a lot about life. You can learn about the complexity of the relationships people go through, you can learn about the multidimensionality of the characters. You learn about the depth of a situation, depth of, a particular interaction, and you value those interactions more. You value people more, and you respect people, you respect those emotions, you respect those performances, and you will see that you will feel like writing something. Maybe it is in terms of journaling, maybe it is in terms of scripts, maybe it is in terms of short stories or novels, whatever you choose to do. Or maybe you are figuring out your own philosophy in life, and that can in turn nurture your acting skills, your acting philosophy in different ways. So it is always a learning experience, no matter whatever we are going through. And sometimes people just let it go. Sometimes people just meticulously, go through things because each and everything matters to them. And you can do both. You can figure out which one to do when. But sometimes we just let life happen. Sometimes we make life happen. And we can have our own adventures, we can have our own experiences, we can listen to our others' experiences, compassion, empathy. We can listen to people talking, listen to their stories, and we can relate so much because that universal humanity we can connect with. And we like a lot of things in life. We can be great human beings, or as a human being we can have a stretched personality, having a big gamut, if I say so, of emotions or talents. As a human being you can have that. But a good movie will give you the opportunity to express a lot through characters,